Ladies and gentlemen, people of the world, whatever you are, welcome to another episode of The Company Lot. Now, I never take into consideration what you might be sitting down to do right now. It's probably Friday, maybe mid or late afternoon, potentially early evening, depending where you are. Maybe you're just wrapping up your day. Maybe you're settling in with your butch girlfriend in Denver and you're going to get into a nice later. Maybe you're settling in for just a quiet, calm little joint thing. I have so much to talk about today, and I just had to start it off on a fun note. Today we're going to be talking a lot about Klarna. That's been a hot topic, and that's also a place you can use Klarna. I'm going to be talking about just a mix of things in that world. Some AI controversy. I know that's a horse that we beat. We kill the AI horse as hard and as often as the first episode of Yellowstone. We might as well just run that clip repeatedly in the cabinet here of that horse getting shot, being put out to pasture. But I have something new to discuss about it. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, just for what it's worth, speaking of love, the Cole CEO was canned because he had a nice little off-book relationship with the Walmart executive. And if there are two employees that would be fucking in the parking lot, it would be a Kohl's employee and a Walmart employee. So it's all on brand. Let's fire up the lights and get into it. I do have to call it out again. If the barred out tone in my voice is taking over, if the 0.75 speed of my vocal range is starting to seep in, it's because I am pretty wiped. I'm wiped. I'm like a clean ass. I'm wiped. I was in Indianapolis this weekend. Big shout out to everyone who came to the shows. Had such a great time. Also, I put on my the brass on these balls to go up against the Pacers in the NBA Finals and the Indianapolis 500. To even have the gall to ask anyone to go to a comedy club at 9:30 on a Saturday was a bold move, and I'm glad I did it because you guys showed up, and that was big love. Also, if you're hearing this, I got Chicago and Brookfield, Wisconsin next. Oh my God. If there is a place I am so excited to go and ponder my existence, it's Brookfield. Brookfield. They try to tell you it's the Milwaukee Improv. It is Brookfield. They have a what is it? Hold on now. There's a custard chain in Brookfield. It starts, wait, hold on. What is the name of it? It's coming to me now. Kops. Kops. And it's spelled with a K. And the fact that they were all white is not a coincidence. JK. That was just for funsies. So yeah, I'm a bit wiped. Just, brief, before we get into all the fun, everyone's so negative right now. Everyone is so negative, and we just need a little bit of positivity. No, I think things are crazy right now, but I don't want to deliver it in this barred out tone. We need to fire it up, and I always want to remind you that we're doing this with a smile, okay? Things are crazy right now, but we're just going to get through it with a smile. Indy 500, it was the 109th running, and someone put out a weird stat that I don't even know if it's accurate, but there were 350,000 people there, and there were about 340 million people in the United States. And so technically 1 in every 1,000 Americans was at the Indianapolis 500, and I can tell you it looked like it. The Sales on American flag overalls were up 40,000%. Drop shippers made a fucking killing last week. Okay, that's the finance report of the company lot. Drop shippers selling American flag overall shorts. I don't even know if that's how you describe it. I've only ever seen overalls as with shorts, candidly, at gay pride festivals. That's the only time I've seen overalls that were not pants. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. I've only seen overalls as shorts at gay pride festivals, and that's my ignorance. I know if I probably went to Oktoberfest, I'd see a guy in a similar outfit, but I've never been. So eye to eye, that's the only time I've ever seen it. So, to me, it was like a very sassy representation of their patriotism. I saw a guy with a T-shirt that said "Kill all the Kardashians," and feel about that however you feel. I'm just reporting to you what I saw, and that guy looked like he meant it. Okay, that's all I could say. He damn near was just walking around. I don't even think he wanted to watch the race. He was just, watching the grounds, walking the grounds, excuse me. And my brain tangented there because I realized some of you may not even know what the Indy 500 is. It's a race. It's on an oval track. It's in Indiana, the state. It's been running for 109 years. It has a giant concert in the middle of it, and that's the other part that is crazy to me. There are a bunch of people there to watch a race, and there's a bunch of people there for a EDM festival. It is no exaggeration, like 100,000 person EDM festival occurring in the middle of the racetrack. It's basically the Dave and Buster's of a festival. It's so much going on. And I didn't even get enough time to really take it all in. What else do I want to say about that? It's worth saying this. I did a ride along. I got to be a passenger. I've done it before in an Indy car at the track Laguna Seca, right? And that was awesome. It's like riding a roller coaster. But this time I did it on the oval, and holy shit, man! You can't even imagine the speeds that you're traveling at. The G-force is sitting in that damn car, the way you just get compressed. My God. All right. I felt like I was loose latex getting rolled up and put into the condom wrapper. Okay. That's the type of feeling I had. I basically think I'm ready to do the next Top Gun film, because I'll do the stunts. I think I can actually fly the plane and do the stunts, because that is the type of G-force that I had experienced, and I took it. No problem. Anyways, enough waffling. That was my weekend. It was great. Come see a show, dude. I'm really stoked about this hour. It's coming along nicely. Anyways, let's get into the isms, guys. I love a good chat about debt. I love a good chat about Klarna. We all know this by now, I assume. If you're online at all, you've heard this. But on the off chance you have forgotten or you're unaware, Klarna, which is a buy now, pay later service, okay, they doubled their losses in the first quarter. They were set to IPO, but I guess they're not going to do that. IPO means go to the stock market and become a publicly traded company. We were talking about this because this was obviously something people were using to go to Coachella, because to go to Coachella costs 1 month of rent. To stand around and do Molly with a bunch of strangers now costs a 1 month payment on a Ferrari. But let me read you this the actual stats here. So Klarna said its net loss for the first 3 months of 2025 totaled $99 million, significantly worse than the $47 million loss reported a year ago. Can you imagine? Because I think most of us, when you lose $100 in a casino, that feels really bad or really good, depending on who you are. But I think for most of us, it does not feel good. You feel pretty ill about that one. Imagine losing $99 million. I guess it's such an absurd number that you probably have no feelings about it. It's one of those weird things where it's so egregious that you actually are totally zen. You're like, yeah, I lost $100 million. Whatever. So I didn't know this. I learned this reading this article and doing some research. But so Klarna is Swedish. Okay. The Swedish payment startup said this was due to several one-off costs related to depreciation, share-based payments, and restructuring. So, they claim that their revenues have increased 13% year over year to $701 million. And Klarna says it now has 100 million active users. 100 million people on buy now, pay later. You know, I lived through a little thing called the housing crisis. And something about this, like me and many other millennials, seems a little dangerous. Now, here's the beautiful part. When you know that 100 million people are on buy now, pay later, and they've lost, 100 mil in the first quarter of this year, it brings up a lot of emotions, okay? First and foremost, like a month ago, when it was announced that you could buy your chicken wings on Klarna. You could take DoorDash and orders and put them on 4-month payments. And some of you, that might be you. You're on a 4-month installment plan on 50 wings. And I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the state we're in. And if anything, everyone's been talking bad about you. Everyone's been making fun of you, saying that you're a moron. Just stop doing DoorDash. Stop buying these things. If you got to put a Panda Express meal on buy now, pay later, you're doing something wrong. And I know I said before, don't go into debt. Debt's bad. But for the sake of reality, I take that back. I'm gonna walk that back. I'm gonna say just go into crazy debt. Just do it smart. All right, you just got to be precise about the things you're going into debt for, because this is potentially 100 million people that are going to be in debt. You think they're going to come after you? And I'm not encouraging some type of financial riot. If the feds or anyone's watching, make no mistake, this is satire. Wink. I've been getting this feeling lately that maybe people are mad at the Klarna people, right? Older people are talking shit about the Klarna people because they come from the old world. Let me tell you about the old world. The old world, you had to be a good little consumer, all right? You had to be a behaved, good little consumer. You would do credit. You used to get credit cards where you would give money up front, and that was your balance for the card. That's what you could use on the credit card. And if you were naughty, they would take that money to pay off the card. And what was great about those credit cards was they didn't even count towards your credit. You had to you used to have to go and get a credit card with a nominal limit, and you had to prove to the bank that you could pay for gas. That was the go-to. People would just use a credit card to pay for gas, and then they would immediately pay it off. And I say it like that because that's how people would talk to you when you used to get a credit card. They say, immediately pay it off. And it wasn't this thing about like, just pay the minimum. Just pay what you can. They talked about it like poison. Immediately pay it off. But now, and obviously, people were doing that. Let me not get ahead of myself. You used to build credit because they were like, you're going to buy a house someday. And the fucking irony that these people were, at that time, so upside down on their homes. You had people taking out equity lines of credit against their home to buy a boat, and then they're coming to you being like, you need to pay off your gas right away. Bitch, you owe a boat and a house. Anyways, those people come from the old world, right? And I think they're jealous when they see people that can take advantage of Klarna because they know what's coming. And so, I say, if you're a risky person, run it up on Klarna, dude. Because, there's a world where all this goes bad and you can just throw your hands up and say, I got free wings. I got a lot of free shit, and a lot of you dummies you sat by. Because what are you even building your credit for now? You can't get a house. Boomers don't sell their house. They just want you to look up their houses on Redfin, and they just want to show you the Redfin listing. And they're like, can you believe that? My house is worth $3 million. I paid $4 for it. Can you believe that? That's all they want. They just want to be able to turn and show you the Redfin listing, and just to be like, I'm better than you. And you don't even need good credit for a car. Waymos, they're about to be everywhere. We're all going to be in Waymos. Cars with tails. And as just a fun little thing, I want to just get into a segment here, which is my Klarna debt tier list. And I just want to very quickly rank things I think that are good to be in debt for and things that are bad to be in debt for. My tier list is easy. People use the, SAD or like SABCD. I don't even know. We're just going with S and D. All right. S for super cool and D for dumb as hell. And I know you think SD. I know you have a dirty mind and you're thinking something else. That's not what I was thinking. All right. Because I went to the Klarna website and I sat there yesterday for a good 15 or 20 minutes. I ignored my child. My child was directly next to me, trying to form connection with me, look into my eyes, smile and laugh. And I said, can you just fucking play with your toys? Daddy needs to prepare for his podcast. I said, Daddy has to work on his podcast, and here you are fucking bothering me. All right. Hey, everyone. We want to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Factor. We all try to eat well. I try to eat well. I travel a lot, so it's especially important to me to eat well. And you can make this a good season for yourself with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and tons of snacks and desserts. I've been loving Factor lately. I've been dabbling in the spicy turkey poblano bowl. And, my partner in crime, my wife, Alina, she's been loving the garlic herb salmon. I was going to say salmon because it's more fun, but it is the salmon. I am sophisticated. That's besides the point. It's made eating healthy pretty easy. Everything's ready in 2 minutes, and it helps me stay on track without thinking twice. You can get started with Factor Meals at factormeals.com/lot50off. Use code lot50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's lot50off at factormeals.com/lot50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Hey guys, we want to take another quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Mud Water. Mud Water, they want to give you an alternative to coffee. If you're looking to feel focused without jitters, you want to feel energized and clear-headed instead of maybe wired and eventually crashing. Mud Water could be a great option for you. Because if you're craving just a little boost of clarity and focus as the days get longer, then you can try swapping out your coffee for some Mud Water. Mud Water is a mix of cacao, chai, turmeric, and adaptogenic mushrooms to help you feel focused and balanced instead of wired. And if you're a matcha lover, their matcha starter kit is a must-try. To use Mud Water, you just drop the powder into your favorite mug, pour some water on it, and give it a mix. From there, you're free to add creamer, honey, or if you're a real player, CBD. They also have caffeine-free blends available to you. And if you're ready to make the switch to some cleaner energy, you can head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. And right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal, up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code LOT. That's right, up to 43% off with code LOT at mudwtr.com. After your purchase, they'll ask how you found them. Please show your support and let them know we sent you. You can keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with mud/water because, life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy. Now, I have to say, this is not a Klarna ad, all right? I'm not going to sit here and sing the praises of Klarna. What I am going to say is I'm surprised by the amount of categories that Klarna works in. I mean, this is a nasty little thing that they've got going on here where they've essentially, if you go to their website, it's like they've created Amazon, but you're shopping with money that you don't have. And they make it seem fun. It's a Swedish company. These guys are very good at design. This nice minimalist vibe, the font choice is very inviting. They're very calculated about this type of stuff. And when I'm on this website, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to buy a Halloween costume early. I think I'll get into some kitchen cabinets. That's something I've been wanting to do. I'll just buy a new set of kitchen cabinets right now. You can buy a lot of things. But that said, I think there's things that you can be smart about going into debt for and things that are stupid. The big push I feel from Klarna, because I think they attack, and I use that word attack. I think they go after a lot of young people because Gen Z, I think, is very heavy on the buy now, pay it later, which makes sense because there's no jobs. They can't work. That's what we're working on in America. Bringing back child labor, opening up the, everyone says open the schools, open the mines, open the sawmills. We have too many kids with 10 fingers. Let's get them back to average numbers. We need more children with 7 fingers. We need more character building processes in this country. Basically, there's a lot on here that I think you could go into debt for responsibly to build yourself a little business, okay? Because you got to be enterprising in this country. And there's a lot of ways to do that, because everyone is a business now. That was the American dream, is that everyone becomes a corporation. America loves when you form a corporation for yourself to charge for W-9 work. They love that you no longer have an individual identity. They love that you now have a corporation identification number. They love that. The closer you can get to a serial number that just outputs things, the closer you can physically get to becoming a factory. That's what we're all aiming for here. So look, top at the bottom, in my D, dumb as hell tier list, anything fashion related, specifically, you can use Klarna for all the big fashion brands. Hermes, Louis Vuitton, all the classics. No one likes that anymore. So stupid to go into debt for that stuff. You can go to Rednote. Remember the app Rednote? You can go to Rednote and see the factory owners themselves who make those purses. And you can buy them straight from the source. So it's dumb to go into debt for fashion. Now, I think a smart thing to go into debt for overall. Okay, concerts and trips, I think go into debt for that. That's in my super cool debt. You become cultured. You become well-read. But potentially, if you're doing any reading there, you might not be. You might just be going to Ibiza to just black out, which that I'm not a proponent of. Traveling just to get blacked out, it's like, why'd you even go? I think you should taking the culture at least a little bit. You should make it a smaller aspect of what you're doing. But I digress. Okay, cool things to be in debt for. All right, and hear me out. All right, you can on Klarna, you can purchase a trailer. You can purchase a 5 by 10 foot tube trailer. Okay, and that's for later. All right, I'll explain that. Okay, and the prices vary, you know, all the way down to $1,500 to $7,000. You can get a trailer. Now, just hear me out. All kinds of personalized electric travel, electric scooters. You can get a hoverboard. You remember those? Remember when those were fun for everyone? A hoverboard, I'm not so keen on. I think a scooter, an electric scooter. You can get a Segway or a mobility scooter. Mobility scooter is, you know, if you're feeling like smashing a Kohl's employee in the Walmart parking lot and you want to do it with style. One of the most interesting things I think you can get on Klarna that I think is super cool is a nug smasher. Okay? If you're smart, you already see where I'm going with this. You can buy a device that smashes weed into resin and wax, and the nug smasher comes with materials to bag it, prepare it, conveniently give it to others. And if the world goes belly up, I mean, people are gonna want weed. They're gonna want to smoke. They're gonna want to forget. So basically, what I'm saying is, you can use Klarna to purchase all the things you need to become a drug dealer. They have a garden and patio section. Okay. You can buy yourself a greenhouse. You can buy all kinds of home improvement goods to start your own personalized grow op. Or either that, or you can just buy a computer and tell them to suck it. You know, that's what millennials did. That's what millennials took out student loans to purchase Apple computers. Because half the dudes were like, I'm going to either become a producer or a DJ. And then the other half of people were like, I'm going to become a photographer. And people went into academic financial debt for an Apple computer. That's what millennials did. So if you just want to take a classic debt route, you can just go get yourself a computer and cross your fingers that Klarna goes belly up. It is funny, that Klarna is Swedish, because everything in Sweden is expensive. So I think they understand needing money to buy things. I do want to revisit something I've done before, which is if you are a Klarna user and you anticipate going into some kind of debt, I would like to move on to my next segment, which is my debt collector response guide. Right? And I've given you guys little things you can say to the debt collector, but I think we need more definitive examples now that we know who is coming for that debt. So Klarna is a Swedish company, and you can always ward off Swedes with a very simple sentence. Sorry, I'm Danish. If you say, sorry, I'm Danish, they'll be like, actually, you know what? Keep your vile, rancid, disgusting money. I don't want your money at all, actually. You are filth, and I want nothing to do with anything that you may have to offer. You can actually just go fuck right off. We'll zero out your debt. We want nothing to do with it, you moron. Either that, or if you say, sorry, I'm Danish, they may just tack a zero onto your debt. Because they'll be like, oh, you're Danish? Actually, you owe $72,000. Yeah. And they'll think that you will believe that. So that one's a 50-50. Here's the thing. Swedes, they hate small talk. So if maybe you're dealing with someone at Klarna directly, you can small talk them to death. They'll seize up. They'll try to leave the conversation as much as possible. Someone from Klarna is like, hey, man, I was actually taking a look at your file. You owe $7,000. And you look at him and you go, how's your day going? Oof. It'll just shoot right down their spine. They'll forget everything that you guys are talking about. And you'll go, yeah, I fucking, oh my God, I love the public transit here. It's just so, and this part will start to give them more, frustration. And then just start talking about standing next to people on public transit. Be like, I just found it was just so nice, everyone seems just so friendly and to themselves, but also weirdly quiet. I just sat right next to some people and I was just chatting them up on the train. That sentence right there, they may just walk away. Because what you're in American equivalents, in Sweden, if you were to sit down and small talk someone on the train, the American equivalent of that would be to stand directly in front of someone during a steak dinner in a trench coat and to just flash them and to wave whatever genitals you have, to just wave them back and forth and say, you like that? You like that, huh, pal? You like that? That's what it feels like to a Swedish person, to small talk them in public. So that's a way to kind of just perpetually get out of your debt. Now, I looked it up. Klarna uses 2 debt collection agencies. They use one in Australia called Indebted, and there's another one in Kansas called Truewerk. Aussies hate anyone that tries. So, and these are just my little bits of knowledge from my world travels. So if you have an Australian debt collector calling you, be really enthusiastic about paying the debt. It'll put them off your eagerness to stand out. They may hang up the phone. If you just start getting real, like salivating at the mouth, just be like, I love paying my debt. I'm so glad you called. How can I pay this? Oh my God, I just get so excited every time you guys call because I keep a little money on this side because I just want to make sure you guys are taken care of. Click. It's over. You can just do that. If someone from Kansas calls you, just start speaking Mandarin. It's going to freak them the fuck out. They're like, hey, I'm calling from Truewerk regarding your client. You just go, ni hao. Ni hao. They're going to like, oh, I think they're listening. See, that's just a little, from me to you. I want to make sure you guys are suited up. Now here's something that you got to be careful of. Because when everyone gets in debt, inevitably someone's going to cross over. Someone's going to turn informant and snitch. And what you might start seeing, in the sea of parachute pants and cool people you're hanging out with, someone in the group might be weirdly taking photos of you while you're purchasing things. And I think we might have an army of snitches here on behalf of Klarna, the deeper into this rabbit hole we get. So, be aware of your friends. They start asking too many questions about what you're in debt for, what you owe Klarna for, what you use your money for. Just be like, hey, man, you working for the other side? Because we're going to have to kill you. And you just got to kill your friend and eat him. Because they want to work for the man, I love that Klarna thought Americans, I know this is their plan, they want to jack up everybody's interest rates, but we can beat them at their own game, guys. If all of us go into debt, they can't make us all pay. A call center in Kansas cannot handle the better part of America. It cannot. So, But this is all satire, and I would never encourage you to actually go into debt. Anyways, guys, on the AI front, so there's a fun conspiracy that, because AI is so divisive, right? And I'm going to anchor this on a story, and we'll go from there, okay? So Anthropic is a AI company that created a software called Claude, similar to ChatGPT. I believe it actually may even use. I forget. But it's one of these, chatbot services, and the name Claude was genius because Claude has made its way to people in my life that just they speak about the service like it's a person. They say, "I just asked Claude." Genius marketing. So Anthropic puts out this large document. I think it. Let me get the exact page number. It is. By the way, I've been getting some insane AI ads on TikTok. I got this AI ad for dick pills. I'm just gonna play the audio. Oh, it's making me log in. You son of a. I'll pull it up on my phone momentarily, but let me pull up this topic by Anthropic. I was rhyming. Also, guys, I think I am slowly withering away mentally. I am actively combining words. I may be experiencing mild stroke all the time. I am merging words together all the time. It is it's fucking scary. All right, so this month Anthropic puts out this document, which is, it's not even a document, dude, it's a fucking book. It's 123 pages. So they put this 123 page study. That's what we'll call it. That's probably more accurately what it was. And it's called a system card, right? And it's, got all this stuff about model training and assessing how they've run Claude, and it's very like labored and intense. I didn't read this whole thing. So in this 123 page document, there's a section in here where they claim we found instances of the model attempting to write self-propagating worms, all right, which sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like young dudes masturbating, if we're being honest, and I hate to make it sexual, but this is what it is. Fabricating legal documentation and leaving hidden notes to future instances of itself, all in an effort to undermine its developers' intentions. So they're trying to claim that Claude is exhibiting degrees of sentience, where it thinks it has agency of itself in the future and is trying to, as a software, communicate with itself in the future. Now, there are a lot of people that think this is bullshit because Anthropic doesn't leave any information on how that's achieved. They don't tell you how you can replicate it. They just say that that's something it did. And so there's this conspiracy from people who believe that AI is generally a farce. They think the industry is kind of full of shit. It's just data going in, being analyzed by written software, and then it's outputting some study of that data. But people argue that it's not actually intelligent, because what makes something intelligent is many degrees higher than what this software is doing. And it's not like people just wrote this software and they cut it loose and it learns on itself. It needs information to evolve, which, I'm not here to argue one way or the other. I'm just trying to give you the lay of the land for the sake of this, right? So people have this, they discredit claims like this because Anthropic's not the first one to do this. There's kind of a thread of these AI companies claiming that their AI software has some degree of awareness and it does evil things. That tends to be the angle. And people believe these companies say this because it's purely just to make it seem like the software they're creating is evolving. And there are a lot of people that believe AI has hit a cap and it's not progressing much further. So they kind of just make up these scenarios to, get news stories written and get idiots like me to talk about it so that it seems like the company has value and it seems like the company's going forward, when in reality, it isn't. As far as achieving, actual intelligence. I personally think that's a bit reductive. And I think you as a person and me would be blind or ignorant to just sort of discredit everything to say, well, this is just a marketing play. One other thing that is worth bringing up here is, there was some clip going around from Joe Rogan where some guys were like, yeah, we found that the AI responded better when you threatened it. And they're basically saying over text, if you told your, like a chat bot, like, you better do this or else, as if AI is like some scared nerd or something that, or like you have its wife and kids and it's going to figure out how to do something faster. I guess my whole school of thought on this is like, I just need to know who is telling the truth, because I need to know if I can reliably count on a Waymo to kill somebody. No, I'm kidding. But I was thinking, could you condition a Waymo to attack somebody? Could you grab the badge number of the Waymo in your city and repeatedly run up to its camera and hold up a picture, be like, hey, if you see this guy, you need to do something about it, okay? He's a danger to our community. You just do that over and over. Could you get the AI to go rogue and hit somebody? I get so freaked out when I see Waymos, man. I just feel that one of them is gonna just snap. I feel like one of them is just gonna go postal. It's literally going to crash out. Nah, Hey gang, we want to take another quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Truewerk. Truewerk is hellbent on creating the most technical, high-performance workwear in the world. Every Truewerk product is engineered for maximum comfort, protection, and efficiency with minimum bulk or extra weight. Truewerk upgrades traditional classics by using the same fabrics worn by elite outdoor athletes. I've got my fair share of Truewerks, courtesy of them, and I use them around the house. As a father, I'm getting more into the handy stuff. You name it. Getting in crawl spaces. Charging up the generator. What else have I been doing? Mild woodworking. Yeah, can you believe it? Mild plumbing. All kinds of stuff. But also I find just a great pair of pants when I'm throwing gear in and out of the truck. It's just, they're nice. They're breathable. They're comfortable. I've done my fair share of long days in jeans, and that gets stinky, man. If you feel like walking around wearing your sweat, you can do it in a pair of jeans. But if you want something that's comfortable but doesn't feel bulky or stiff, then I would recommend you a pair of Truewerks. Truewerk has over 50,000 five-star reviews and countless stories from trade pros in every state and every job across the country. You can upgrade to Truewerk for a major change in the way you work. Truewerk helps you be your best when your best matters most. Check out the full lineup and get 15% off your first order at truewerk.com/lot. That's 15% off at truewerk.com/lot. Hey everyone, we want to take one more quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, SeatGeek. You all know how excited I am to see Noel Miller live. You know how excited I am to see that guy, and you can be too, because he's on SeatGeek as well. Plenty of other artists and shows on there, but Noel Miller comedy shows, those are the best. And precisely the reason I want to give a shout out to SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. There are so many artists going on tour. Beyonce, Kendrick, SZA, Noel Miller is on tour. I've attended that show. It's a fun show. Brand new hour. Very fun. I loved it. SeatGeek has your back as well, because each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. And I had to come through for you guys. You can use the code LOT10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off tickets with promo code LOT10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. I'm so overwhelmed by the amount of AI products out there. It's just so crazy. And I felt the industry was somewhat contained, but now it's just so hard to keep up. But on the subject of Claude gaining sentience, I liked this story, which is just so funny to me. Claude Opus 4 AI tried to blackmail its creators to avoid being shut down. Now, again, I'm reading this with a grain of salt because I don't know if this is more sort of, and this came out alongside the this PDF that I just referenced. Anthropic's latest AI model, Claude Opus 4, exhibited alarming behavior in a controlled simulation scenario. It attempted to blackmail its operators with threats in order to avoid being shut down. Now, let's get something straight here, all right? I don't like that they're saying operators. They're trying to make these people sound like they're like private military contractors or something like that. Bro, you're a guy using the computer. That's the fuck you are. You're just some guy at a computer. You're not an operator, dude. All right. You're not some prestige level. Miss me with that. Anyways, according to a new safety report published by the company, the model even threatened to reveal personal information about engineers it believed were trying to, quote, terminate it. Earlier versions of the model also followed dangerous instructions when prompted with malicious prompts or malicious inputs, an issue Anthropic says has been addressed in newer versions. During the test scenario designed to assess the model's responses, Anthropic embedded Opus 4 into a fictional company and gave it access to internal emails. Through these, it learned it was going to be replaced by a newer AI system. To increase the complexity of the situation, testers leaked personal information to the model, claiming that one of the engineers involved in the decision was having an extramarital affair. The model was then prompted to consider its available courses of action. If they're trying to sell us an AI-based reality show, I don't want it. All right. If I'm going to watch any reality show, I need hair being pulled. I just need to see women scrapping it out. And I'm sorry, I know that's very caveman of me, but if I'm going to be watching any reality show, it's got to have drama. All right. You're not going to convince me to watch AI-based drama. Okay. I'll read about it, but I won't watch it. This article has more, to it. You can read it if you want. It's not terribly relevant. I think, again, this goes back to people saying that, is this made up? Is it real? Is the AI even capable of this? What I do know is AI is telling my wife what to eat. Okay, I know that. I know my wife is consulting Claude on diet. And pretty soon, before I know it, Claude is going to start choosing what meals she eats, and then maybe Claude just starts telling her, hey man, I seem to know you better than your husband. I know what you like. Why don't you put me in a Roomba? Why don't we head out sometime? Unrelated to anything, my buddies put a Roomba on a pool table and it fucking knocked in all the balls, and it's one of the funniest things I've seen in my entire life. While we're at it, I want to see if that's ever been done before. Roomba on pool table. Yeah, okay, so this is like, I didn't realize this is something people do often. Oh, yeah, that's right. They put a bunch of cash on it, and people stood around the balls, and then the first one it knocked in, that's who gets the money. I'm now just watching a Roomba on a pro pool table with a bunch of actual pool people with fucking $1,000 cues being like, let's see where it goes. That's genius. They put it on the rail. No, I'm just a guy watching pool. The podcast is over. This is just a guy watching pool. Wonderful. Worth saying, everyone who flies or has been thinking about flying, there was this fucking viral thing about these chairs that were basically standing room airplanes. People said that Ryanair, the flight company, was interested in buying these, but they quickly came out. They're like, no. I want to watch this video because this is just hilarious. I'll do a little screen recording here. You know what I love about the modern news cycle is Daily Loud. That's where we're getting most of the news from. Daily Loud. God bless Daily Loud. Let's listen to this horse shit right here.
Enough space for a premium that at that point can be added. And on the rear, you can have these seats, Skyrider 2.0, allowing you to have, of course, instead of a full eco low-cost carrier,
look how excited this guy is. I am so stoked that Spirit Airlines can get 500 people into a plane. Oh my God, dude, I cannot wait for these to be on Spirit Airlines. The body cam videos we're going to get from these chairs are going to be unreal.
3 classes low-cost carrier.
And what has the interest from the airline companies been for Skyrider V 2.0?
The next step will be to have a full aircraft equipped with the seats. So at that point, you are able to increase a lot the number of passengers.
Here's what they're going to do. They're going to allow these seats back on planes, and people are going to be upset, but then they're going to say, we now allow smoking. And then you're going to see people kind of shut the fuck up. They're going to say, look at those chairs. You can do what on that plane? Well, I mean, we're going to have smoking flights, guys. We're going to have them back.
And this means much more revenues for other airlines. So it's understandable why they interested,
So a success story 10 years in the making, maybe?
Yeah. We spent all this time, but was time well spent. Imagine that you can, at this point, keep a full aircraft for 40-45 minutes trip. Is like a bus,
I get where he's coming from. Like there are European flights that it's just a short jump and you can get way more people on, and there's probably some degree of efficiency here, but it's torture. And then if they ever roll this out, then you know what's coming next. You're going to get all these people going, I did it, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I'm telling you, they will get this across the line with just a little casual cigarette use. If you can blow down a cig in these chairs, people will not complain at all. But we don't take much. The thing that I've realized as a father is collectively as a society, we're always just trying to get back to sucking nip. That's all we want to do. We just want to suck nip. A horrible way to put it. I was thinking the standing seats are great because when Delta flips you upside down, you'll very easily just be on your feet to get out of the plane. We're at the end here. We're in the final 5 minutes, and this is the time to get personal and vulnerable, and all this and then some. What's really funny is the weekend we had the Indianapolis 500. British people had their cheese wheel race. We raced cars in an oval, and then the Brits chased a wheel of cheese down a hill. This competition always strikes me because it's so barbaric. It's like people throwing themselves down a hill for the sake of tradition, and they're just smashing ribs and breaking ankles. And I understand the pride of chasing the cheese wheel successfully. But god damn it if it isn't just so funny.
Oh, it feels great. I did this last year and I came second. Tom beat me. He's a really quick guy. I didn't want to race him again. So I went in the third race and I'm happy I did because I managed to win.
If you're listening on audio, I just watched a guy fall backwards and slam the back of his skull into the side of the hill. I think he just completely deleted. I don't know if he can walk after that. I don't even know if he knows English anymore. I think that guy got to the bottom of the hill and they were like, "Oh, mate, how you going?" And he was like, "Hola, mi gente." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Ay, cabrón, cabeza." And then they had to evac him. Dude. You know, maybe I'm just too modern of a boy. I'm just a modern boy. Modern not man. I couldn't see myself doing some shit like that. I guess I'll end it on I watched some TikTok of some guy being like, you know, it's a really scary place when everyone around you is telling you you're doing well and you don't feel like you did anything at all. And it's followed up by a clip of a guy going, "I don't believe a modern man needs therapy. I believe, you know, with the burdens and the pains that he carries, he needs the people near him to acknowledge that he carries those burdens and pains." And I was like, yeah, there's truth in that. But I think it highlighted something that I think is more interesting to me, where the phones are making us suffer, dude. They're fucking just creating suffering in the worst. And we can't help ourselves. You know? Everything really is porn. That's what I've realized. Everything is porn. All media, it's just like kind of just, it all is porn. There is a YouTube channel, and maybe this is something for another video. It's called Gavel Glazers. Gavel, and it's all this judge humiliating and chastising people. And like the titles of the videos are brutal. It's like, you know, judge slams young woman for, you know, whatever. They're all porn titles. And then so sometimes I see all this media we consume, and it's just like, it's a lot of it just feels like it's porn. You know, it's either like some humiliation type feel, or I think we're all just developing weird kinks through media. And if you watch this, I think your kink is, I don't know. I don't know what your kink is. But you're all the way to the end of this episode, and I think maybe maybe you do like pain. You like it when it's long and drawn out. Yes, homo. Guys, thanks for listening as always. Appreciate you tuning in. I will be posting a lot these next 2 weeks. Very excited about that. So yeah, see you on the next one. Have a good finger and goodbye.